symbol, you shall conquer, or you shall something or other. Basically, to him, it was a symbol to, well, he got his pagan army to paint a Christian symbol on their shields. Not very popular. In fact, they started to refuse until they were threatened with what's called blackballing, where soldiers pick one. No, I'm not going to go into that, but basically, it's a lottery. If the way they maintained discipline was, if you got a black ball, your brothers in arms would beat you to death. That's how that army then painted this Christian symbol onto their shields, defeated the army, and wow, look at the history of the Roman Empire. As I say, the Church of Rome is not, to me, what the Master Yeshua taught, and I deeply respect the words and teachings of that Master. However, it's that Church of Rome which launches Inquisition, and then in 1492, what was it? Oh yes, Pope Innocent VIII. Wow, what a name. Of course you can. Fire up, blaze away as you wish. Has anyone got a magnifying glass? That would be good. You can light it off the sun then.
Thank you, Mother.
Boom Bolana Terana Jerana Pushparina Boom Shankar Boom Shiva Boom Ganja Boom Boom Boom. That's a Chillum mantra, by the way. Anyway, back to the story of like this constant. So actually, Pope Innocent, he maintained that now cannabis was a satanic sacrament of, I think it was the 4th order. He also believed that taking into the falling of rivers was also satanic. So basically, if you washed in a river, you were deemed to be a witch, and you would either be drowned or burnt for washing. What happened after that? Plague. Interesting, isn't it? I find why there's this energy, this force, which is promoting ill health, because they suppressed this plant. So a lot of the knowledge around cannabis was lost in the West, but not in the East. So when until the 1800s, is 1840 or something like that, is, I apologise for pronunciation, I'm not very good on Irish names, William Brooke O'Shaughnessy, something like that. O'Shaughnessy. Okay, he went off to India and observed the use of cannabis. And he started doing trials, first on animals, then on other humans, and then eventually on himself. And he described it to be an anticonvulsive of the greatest value and was great in the treatment of numerous diseases, illnesses, etc. And then he brought a big lump of hash back to England in about 18-something, 50 I think, no, 1840 something, whatever. Check the dates, whatever. And he gave it to Peter Squire, a London pharmacist, and he made what was called Squire's extract. And Squire's extract became very popular because it worked. It took away pain. The side effects tended to be hilarity, hallucination, but for some dysphoria. Because this is the thing about cannabis. If you've got unresolved emotional, mental, physical issues in your body, and you've never had the THC experience, cannabis can bring that to the surface. And it can be very unpleasant for people. I've dealt with a lot of my stuff. I haven't dealt with everything, but I love the effect of cannabis upon my body. But not everyone does, because that was the thing of the Church of Rome, I feel, and other people who wanted to block that connection to the truth. But we are divine. We are divine beings. And no one is going to tell me that I cannot grow this plant. They can tell me I can't grow it, but I'm not going to stop growing it. So, he wrote this report. However, there are others who took a less scientific approach to cannabis, and in 1858, I think it was, this Dr. John Warnock was sent to Cairo to head a mental asylum. He couldn't speak a word of Arabic, so he could only observe the use of cannabis. Well, he observed other things, but he couldn't actually speak to anyone and discuss it. 40%, apparently. That's not that much, actually. But he made the conclusion that smoking cannabis led to insanity, because he observed that a lot of people in an insane asylum, a mental asylum, whatever you want to call it, smoke cannabis. Therefore, smoking cannabis must cause insanity. That is not science. That's causal relationship. Yet, it would be the foundation what caused the prohibition of cannabis. And where did that force or pushing of prohibition of cannabis, affecting here, Britain specifically, actually came from Egypt. Why? Because for a long time they tried to prohibit cannabis. From the 1400s, they made the punishment for possessing cannabis the pulling out of teeth. They introduced a death penalty for possession of cannabis. Did it stop cannabis use? No. It just made the drug smuggling issue a lot bigger. Big coast to the north, mountains, desert around to the south. Umpteen opportunities for smugglers to bring cannabis in. So they were experiencing already the problems with prohibition, i.e., prohibition does not stop drug use. It merely criminalises a natural, lawful pursuit to commune with the holy tree of life. However, jumping forward a bit to, because I realise I'm sort of going on a little bit here, but this is my passion actually, to bring people to ask, how do you get away with it? Because I am aware of the history of the crime of prohibition. And because I'm very knowledgeable about it, they prefer to leave me alone, because they won't want me stood in the courthouse again, as I have done 6 times, and giving this evidence to juries who've refused to convict me. Don't want that to happen. So anyway, Egypt. Jumping forward to 1924, the Geneva Opiates Conference, and this Dr. El Gundi, the Egyptian delegate, stands up and says, Egypt has a problem with chronic hashishism. Hashish is a poison with no known antidote, the use of which leads to the breakdown of all bodily functions, leading to insanity. Complete and utter lies. Yet, though Britain objected, why did Britain object? Because Britain was making a lot of money from the hash trade through the East India Trading Company in India, and other reasons which I'm not going to go into. However, most of the delegates there were uninformed. They didn't know about it. America had already pulled out. Why? Because they wanted absolute prohibition. Because in America you'd already had this whole reefer madness thing, vested interests. Hemp is not just about getting high, being a medicine. All the clothing, 100% that I'm wearing is made from the fibres of this plant. You could be building buildings out of hemp, you can make cars out of hemp, aeroplanes. The first commercial aeroplane has been just built. I've seen the pictures of it. Fueled on hemp ethanol. Food, fibre, fuel, medicine, all from one plant. Quite amazing. So in America, big corporate interests, they created this whole smear campaign about marijuana, the assassin of youth, how the use of marijuana, it was the most violent causing drug known to man. They used the word marijuana because nobody knew, but they're actually referring to cannabis, hemp. Hemp is the English derivation of the Latin word cannabis. It's this plant here that you see, live and real, direct, for real. So, that's the origin of it. It's a complete lie. The Misuse of Drug Act is here. Jump back a little bit. September 2017, we had about 100 or so people in a big circle, and we made a declaration of peace. We declared that we were at peace, safe in the knowledge that we have inalienable, God-given rights to goddess-given plants, and we do not consent to the fraudulent, treasonous, criminal Misuse of Drugs Act. You see, we are policed by consent, because the policing, now we're getting into another whole realm of the fraud of the name. It's all who wants cake rather than listening to me rabbit on? Great, okay. It's just, I feel like I've got at least a grounding. There's only so much information you can take on at a time. So I'm going to do one last poem, not one last, but one last before the cake, and then we're going to share the cake. There's a bit of a join in thing with this one. Are we free to grow the tree? On the back here, you'll see the words, for we are free to grow the tree. Do you want to just pass them around? I've got more of these, I might need to get some more. That's like
lovely, I know. Lovely.
Thanks all by way for coming, hanging out. And next year is on a Sunday, and hopefully it'll be sunny, but not Easter week. I like to go to the Abbey Park and sit on the grass and commune with the grass rather than the concrete. But we're here now, and it's good because it's that people are just walking by and go, wow, this is normal for Glastonbury. Here's this guy with a hash cake, blatantly advertised that he's giving out a hash cake with a cannabis plant, and where's the police? police do not have the finances or the resources or the desire anymore to enforce this criminal legislation. The times have changed now. I can truly say that the war on drugs is over. Hallelujah. 20 plus years of my life I've put to this, and to be here, stood here, doing this, brings me such joy, because I live for this, to do this, to be free cannabis, fearless in my actions, driven by a passion for life and all beings to be free. Free of a yoke of a tyranny that shackles the mind into the belief that a plant by the name of cannabis can possibly be illegal. I mean, come on. What does this mean? What? God made a mistake? Oops, I didn't mean to put it there. Honest? No, of course not. Study the law. Know the law. The book of the law, and ye shall see most clearly, most directly, most explicitly that God has given us every herb bearing seed upon this face of the earth. God, Goddess, use what name you wish. This plant is a gift of our dear Mother Earth, who provides us with a seed of optimal nutritional value, delicious and nutritious, a fibre, strong and durable, making paper, clothing, building homes, even cars, a biomass fuel, clean and efficient, and a medicine, safe and natural, feeding and nourishing our endocannabinoid systems, bringing us into balanced health and harmony. This plant is essential, a dietary essential as stated by Dr. Courtney. But most of all, she has gifted us with a pathway to liberation. For the dried leaves and flowers of the cannabis plant open the doorway to the love of all beings who just want to be at peace. Mate, hang on, to the love of all beings who just want to be at peace, mate. To the love of all beings who just want to hug, be at peace, make love. To the love of all beings, I serve you eternally with love, guiding us home to the liberation of the cannabis plant. For in my reality, cannabis is free, for we are free to sow and grow of the holy tree of life. So Glastonbury, to the world, are we free? We are free, we are free, we are free to grow the tree. Let me hear you, Glastonbury. We are free, we are free, we are free to grow the tree. We are free, we are free, we are free to grow the tree. So Babylon, your days are numbered, the children of God have awakened, and we are free, free for freedom! It is definitely time for freedom, time for the Macy melt. It's called Macy after Macy Williams, the Game of Thrones actress, who now apparently has 8 million people following her on whatever is twitting. 3 million when she played the role of Hash Brownie, where she dressed up as a hash brownie, as you can see in the picture, and gave out cannabis cakes at some, I don't know, celebrity party somewhere, and hashtagged to her event 3 million. Everyone loves a hash brownie. I'm totally into that reality. Hope you like the cake. It's 4.2 grams of amnesia haze hash in that. It's all outdoor, it's raw, it's organic, and the top bit is has got weed in it from my garden. So, I'm going to put some music on and we're going to share cake.